When you have big flat plains for long directions, you're able to see enemies coming from a long ways away, and you're able to fight against them. And so this is why Arizona has advantages of having really harsh climates surrounding it. You have deserts, you have seas of deserts on all sides of you, and you have mountainous regions to the north, and you have a climate that's very conducive for growing food if you're able to get water. And whereas in Colorado, you have all of the Great Plains on one side, and you have this massive barrier and geographical protection on your other side, which is the Rocky Mountains, which extends for a good long ways in all directions. So these are centralized places that are what would be called a redoubt, an area you could defend and protect easily. So this is why Phoenix was chosen to be the head of a lot of these projects teams, and why my family relocated from the East Coast and from the West Coast to Arizona, to Flagstaff, Arizona, to Lake Havasu, Arizona, and then to Pinetop, Shoalo, and Lakeside. But that link I just sent you, David, were you able to open that?
It's on the screen right now.
Sweet. Page 90 of that, if you want to scroll down there, we're going to get into how the Central Intelligence Agency operates in creating and forming cults, because the religious component of how to create mind-controlled slaves is critically needed. And so they began to develop this. I'm going to just read this for y'all because it's absolutely fascinating. On page 90, it says, Chapter 6, the CIA cults. Whenever possible, multiple sources are used to verify content. However, this was not always possible. With this in mind, we ask that the readers concentrate the totality of the material, not individual examples of criminality. Example, the chapter on cults often contains single source material that may overstate or exaggerate the role of persons named therein. The totality of material paints a picture that is accurate. All person named as allegedly involved in criminal activity are innocent until proven guilty and deserve the presumption of innocence. I'm going to just scroll down here. Sorry about this. Intelligence agencies have infiltrated and created a number of satanic groups, beginning with their resurgence in 1966 with the birth of the Temple of Satan, founded by Anton LaVey. LaVey studied criminology in San Francisco and worked in the San Francisco Police Department crime lab, as well as an informant for Interpol. Prior to the Temple of Satan, LaVey ran a group called the Magic Circle. LaVey's most famous associate was the NSA's Army Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino. At the time of his membership in LaVey's group, Aquino was an Army specialist in intelligence and psychological warfare. In 1973, he became the executive officer of the 306 Psychological Operations Battalion, contemporaneously with his founding of the Temple of Set. Michael Aquino, while an Army reservist major in the 7th Psychological Operations Group, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino co-authored with General Paul Valley from PSYOP Mind War, The Psychology of Victory, the thesis of which is that an enemy population could be subdued by inflicting a state of psychological terror and feelings of imminent destruction. This is the what gave rise to the Cold War, and what has given rise to the War on Terror, an invisible enemy you can't actually kill, and what's given rise to the War on the Virus, another invisible enemy you cannot kill, but it causes fear, right? He discusses the use of psychotronic weapons or electromagnetic weapons that influence the mind. Capitulation could be induced without firing a shot by extremely low frequency signals piggybacked on broadcast of radio, TV, microwave communications to influence and manipulate the thoughts and the feelings of the target population. During the 1960s, he was prominent in the Church of Satan and a close friend of Anton LaVey until he started his own Temple of Set. A police intelligence report dated July 1st, 1981 reads, "The Temple of Set is a group with hundreds of members that operates on a national level. Aquino is the head of the organization and rules through a council of 9, who are in fact his lieutenants." And it goes on to describe how this secret society has been operating within the United States military, within police departments and intelligence agencies. It's a fantastic book chapter in this book, but I highly recommend those of you that want to understand the mechanics of this. This is like there is genuine literature and research, y'all, that verifies what it is I'm talking about today. It just requires some diligence on your part to go and study it out for yourself. You don't have to believe everything I'm saying. I understand that, but you should check and verify the words that I'm saying, whether or not they have veracity. Because what you would find as you uncover and you dig into the coffers of our society and our history is that there really is another world that exists right beneath your feet that's hiding just outside of the periphery of what you think is normal life. And that world has been governing and dictating every aspect of your life and your upbringing from the day that you were born to the day that you're going to die. And they are not doing that in your better interest. They are doing that in the interest of the state and of the priest class, which is not the kind of people that you want ruling it. You don't want Anton LaVey's and Michael Aquino's being the guys who are the shot callers of policy decisions, but they really are. They're the ones who influence policymakers to do that. And because of that, these groups are the ones who are driving and creating what are chosen ones, which are sleeper cells that are awaiting their time to unleash absolute chaos and anarchy on our society, to completely destroy the social order, to try to bring about a true new world order, a phoenix that rises from the ashes, a Babylon reworking. Another two individuals that are household names for a lot of people, L. Ron Hubbard and Jack Parsons. Jack Parsons is the founder of JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratories, which has some of the most advanced propulsion systems, and is a defense contractor, and like you would think of Raytheon or Lockheed Martin. Jack Parsons, the founder of that, was an occultist who would go out into the deserts and do these great magical workings from, he was somebody who followed and practiced Aleister Crowleyism, Crowley black magic. And Crowley and black magic, his whole secret that he believed the greatest power source was through the sodomizing, the rape, and the incestuous abuse of boys, little boys generally under the age of 9. And that was the key to unlock the cup of immortality, was drinking of blood and raping of children. And so that is when anybody who's looking at people like Jay-Z, who is a practitioner of the OTO, the Ordo Templi Orientis, which is also a CIA-founded cult that operates under Black Crowleyan magic. This is what the core tenets of that doctrine is. And L. Ron Hubbard and Jack Parsons went out into the deserts of California to do what is called a Babylon working ritual, where they were trying to raise up a moonchild. A book Aleister Crowley put out was called Moonchild, in which he describes a poetic literature, a fiction work of how to raise up these old gods, these ancient fallen ones, and how you could have them give birth through a human, a woman, a girl, a child. Let's just put it super clearly, a barely pubescent little girl. And so that they could have sex with her and inseminate their seed. L. Ron Hubbard did, and Jack Parsons. L. Ron Hubbard became the founder of the Church of Scientology as we know it today. And Jack Parsons founded the JPL lab. They engaged in this ritual. They said it was not successful. And but from that, what really gave birth was those two massive organizations from Scientology. And this is why you guys, you have to be so leery of understanding the origins of anybody you want to dig into, anybody you want to follow, any company you want to work for. It is your due diligence to find out what is their motivating factors. Who are the corporate shareholders? Who are the people that they actually respond to? Because by not doing so, by not learning how to have informed consent, by not learning what is truth and what is reality, you become victim. You are so easily beguiled to be somebody who's contributing to this radical, intelligent evil, this systemic culture of corruption, of cowardice, and of control. And it's your duty to guard against that. And if you find wickedness, if you find evil at the core tenets of the corporation, the people that you're working for, you either need to stay inside that and work diligently to expose it, to gather and collect evidence, to become a whistleblower, a double agent, for lack of a better word, so that you can reveal to others what is really taking place. And you can work with us collectively to dismantle this empire of evil and try to set people free from this perpetual bondage, because we were made to set people free. We were not made to be ruling and reigning and dominating over our brothers and our sisters, because at the end of the day, we are mankind. We are not some kind of sub-animal species like they lie to us. We're not some insignificant speck floating through an universe of worthlessness. We're not an accident. We are not some birthed out Big Bang fart in a galaxy that just showed up one day and we're some happenstance evolution of apes. We are not. We are divinely created with an image and a purpose of the Most High, of the Creator, El Elyon, the God above all gods, the judge of all the earth, who is going to hold these people accountable. And every one of us, every man, woman, and child is going to have to give an account at the end of their life for what they did with the talents, the giftings, the resources that was entrusted to them. Every one of you who's watching this, you have gifts that are critically needed in order to contend against this war for the souls of men and women and children. The soul is your mind, your will, your emotions, your intellect, and they are trafficking in the souls of men every single day of our lives. You have a duty, you have a responsibility to become a soldier that you are made to be, to wage a war against this evil network, to contend against the spiritual forces of darkness that are seeking to steal, kill, and devour continually. The reason we're making this great war with this dragon is from the very beginning. When he got cursed, it said he was going to crawl on the belly all the days of his life, and he would eat dust. His food source is dust, and mankind was made from dust, and from dust we come, and from dust we return. That is why they must consume life. They must consume our souls. They must drink our blood and eat our flesh in order to live. And when people give themselves over to compromise, they give themselves over to the influence of that kingdom of darkness, and they become his ambassadors on this earth, where we instead are supposed to be the ambassadors of love and of truth, who are absolutely committed to only seeking the deliverance of all of the people who have ever been entrusted to us.
Wow.